I went through my mom's phone and I regret it. My dad is in prison, but I'm not gonna get into that today. They have divorced on paper. They still love each other, they told me, and they only divorced so my mom could get financial help from the government since we're struggling, money-wise. But today I was on a call with my dad and after we hung up I went through her snap out of curiosity and saw horrible messages I feel disgusted by, like for example, I am so boring that I only let you see in my mouth. You're so hot. Meet up again at 8 p.m. plus more. And that was only my mom's text. I blocked the guy on her phone and she confronted me about it. I then told her about the messages I saw and whatnot. Now I'm ignoring her while she blames only me without saying anything. And I'm left constantly imagining it in my head, being angry at her and sad. I regret my actions and I wish I never looked. What a day.
Don't hurt the sweet girl because I'm not sweet. I was working in a restaurant and the manager and one of the part-time girls were dating. He was a bit of an ass, but she was the sweetest girl I had ever met. She was the type of girl that if this was a cartoon, animals would flock to her. They came from another state because he got a promotion, left all their family behind. He comes into work one day, and tells her he's dumping her because he met someone else and she had to be out of the house that night. It was his house. He paid all the bills. She was obviously devastated. I took her home, called to other workers, and we packed her up. After a while, I told everyone I was going to go get us lunch. What nobody knew was that in the way out of work, I grabbed a pair of thick rubber gloves, the kind that go up to your elbows. On the way to get food, I stopped at a joke shop and picked up some itching powder. Whilst the others were packing, I went into the bedroom and rubbed the itching powder into every pair of underpants in his drawer. If you rub in it hard enough, it can't be seen, so he just wore them. She stayed with me for a week before she could go home to her family. During this time, he was discreetly scratching all the time. I told him that maybe he'd caught something from his new girlfriend. He said no, because she stopped having sex with him when he started itching and still won't. Itching powder isn't easy to get rid of even if you wash your clothes, so he was scratching for weeks. He deserved it.
Popular girl called me ugly to my face the month of high school. I turned her into a fart monster. Freshman year of high school, math class. My assigned seat was behind probably the most sought-after female in the school. I had indirect issues with her as older males from the grades above us tried to impress her by bullying me. I was pants by a senior in gym class who wanted to make her laugh. Another senior spit in my water bottle, also trying to impress her. One day I made the horrid mistake of wearing a hat to school, even though I had never worn one. It made me feel insecure to wear it. I felt like I looked ugly, but for some reason, I wanted to be a hat guy. Sitting in class waiting for the lesson to start, and popular girl PG walks to her seat. She sits down, and then turns completely around and stares at me, in silence, very intently for what felt like a year, but was only like 30 seconds. For a half second my dumb male brain got excited that she was going to acknowledge me. She then proceeded to say, "You are so ugly." There was little to no malice in her voice. It was said in an almost matter-of-fact way, and left me completely stunned. She then stared at me for another 10 seconds, and turned around. My face was probably beet red at this point. I'm embarrassed, hurt, and any form of what little confidence or self-love I had for myself completely left me. So, of course, what does my adolescent body do in this moment of complete humiliation? Fart. Loudly. Immediately, the jockey kid to my right yells something along the lines of "That stinks. Who shit themselves?" Instinct kicks in and I blurt out, "Ew, PG, at least leave the room." Now, no one would ever actually believe that PG farted, and I'm pretty sure that my tone of voice would have clearly given away that it was me, and I was blaming someone else for it. But her reaction to being called out was so visceral that the hungry jackals, which are high school students, couldn't help themselves, and they began to pile on that the fart was hers. From that point on, I made it a point to fart in that classroom, and always blame it on her, which always led to the rest of the class joining in. I never had an issue with her again, or with other males bullying me to try to impress her.